This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the young Libyan soldier in the soldier's video diary to make sure he didn't die in vain. Not because I like Gaddafi, who's a totalitarian, because this young man thought he was fighting for his country. I can see in his face, I was very surprised if he was anything other than a loyal citizen in his own mind. I think it's a great crime that he died because we could have had talks and we could have had elections there, and the Gaddafis could have just formed a party, and maybe the Gaddafi family could have left and just left the ideology that they had because they have their own system and they have a story to tell. They have a defense against the prosecution of the world. Doesn't mean they'll win the defense, but that's who it goes out to in the first part of this is about how the United States turned from a democracy into a dictatorship. And this occurred uh, prior to October 2001 when the Patriot Act was passed. And the Patriot Act allows arrest of any American. He can be held without trial forever, and he can be tortured. He can lose his citizenship. He can lose his assets. That's enough, I think, and it's been demonstrated. There was a 16-year-old boy who was taken from his home by 10 policemen, and his mother could not find out anything about the case or what the status was. And it doesn't really matter what happened beyond that. We have proof of concept, 10th grader put into the system that would end up ultimately in a maximum security prison, a la Bradley Manning, stripped naked every night. Except Bradley Manning, at least we know where he is. He wasn't classified under the Patriot Act, I think, as a terrorist because they can disappear these people because it's all state secret. So, so here's the way it lays out: 2 + 2 + 1. So the Patriot Act is passed from 2001 until the exit of Bush. We have the largest military, correctional, and security expenditure we've ever had in the United States under crippling debt conditions. I went out and interviewed people in the street. 15 out of 20 working class and lower working class people that I talked to did not even know there was a war in Libya at all. And none of them knew, of course, that Libya had the highest educational attainment, the highest, lowest poverty, lowest infant mortality in Africa or in the Middle East, barring one country in the Middle East, maybe like Qatar or something. So, so we know there was this massive military security buildup, incarcerations continuing to build. About one in every 100 American, less than that, more than that even. A lot of people disenfranchised from felonies. A third of them are there for drug addiction related offenses. A third of them are in there for property crime, basically being thieves as their job because they can't get another job or they are hostile to rich people and they're nonviolent. And then a third of them are people, at most, probably more like 20%, they're seriously disturbed and violent people. Okay, so we allowed this to happen, and the country technically ceased to exist on October of 2001 because without the suspension of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, effectively it kills the United States. Without adherence to that document, we are not that document system. There is no United States of America without a constitution. And the Patriot Act is so sinister and so totalitarian that you just can't call it the U.S. anymore. So I propose we call it a little bit euphemistically the Correctional Military Corporation of Central North America, which was born somewhere between 1963 and 2001 to be poetic about it. But the facts are the 2 + 2 is the Patriot Act and this massive military buildup. Then Obama comes in. Why is Obama so different in practice than he was in his previous incarnation as a campaigner? So there's only two possibilities. One is that he was essentially a plant by finding a person of color who was a Harvard constitutional law professor who then established an even greater framework. See, with Guantanamo, They couldn't close it because they had these last people there. So they had to create a special framework to process them. And this special framework allows for indefinite detention. Basically, you can be jailed forever um, for because you might commit crimes later. So that's one possibility, was that he was a plant of some kind, which would be very hard to believe. And the other possibility is that when he got into the Oval Office, he found himself in a prison himself, which is surrounded by security people who told him, actually, sir, the system is a charade. You will be working for the NSA and the DOD. You will take orders from us. Now, that's paranoid vision, but those are as likely as the concept that he just totally turned on everything he believed in. Anyway, it's somewhat irrelevant because all we want is to get our rights back. And the problem is that vis-a-vis the Libya war, the destruction of Libya, people said, but what can we do? So the second part of this is going to be about how easy actually it's going to turn out to do something about this.